Hey fellow backyard boyers, Nick here. I've been getting a lot of questions about bow fishing, and so in the last couple videos I showed you guys how to make an adapter so you could mount your standard bow fishing reels onto your PVC bow or traditional bow that doesn't have the proper mounts. But if you wanted to build your own reel, today I'm going to show you guys how to build a drum style reel. This is my go-to style of reel. I've used similar reels like this, for years. It's been the main thing that I've used, well, the only thing that I've used. And the idea behind the drum style reel is really simple. It's basically just a drum that the line goes on. When the arrow goes out, it just flies off the drum. It's really simple. Now it does have some downsides. It puts a lot of drag on your arrow. That's one thing. Sometimes it doesn't release cleanly. It's not guaranteed to be perfect every time, especially if you did something wrong when you were wrapping it. And it can be kind of temperamental. So, with any drum style fishing reel, that's kind of one of the downfalls. Which is why that I've actually upgraded to the AMS retriever reel, but I'm definitely going to keep these as backups. I'm actually making a bunch of these for backups just in case. So like I said, you could use just about anything, and there are tons of tutorials on how to make simple styles of reels. You could even use a bottle. So it's really simple, really versatile. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to build this. It's pretty similar to a lot of the drum style reels on the market. It's got a mount for pretty much any traditional or compound bow. It just screws into the stabilizer hole. If you don't have a bow like this, if you have a PVC bow, you can use the adapter I showed you guys how to build. There are other ways to attach it as well, if you wanted to just say tape it onto your bow. It's got a flared design so it holds the line on so it doesn't just fall off, but it's got a nice rounded edge so that when the line feeds, it's a nice clean feed. It doesn't get hung up or snagged. And it also has this handy little arrow holder. Most of the drum style reels I grew up with didn't have this, and so I've always had to hold the arrow with my bow if I'm transporting it. It's really easy to get things tangled. It's hard to put it down, and sometimes you'll pick up the bow and then you'll have line going everywhere. But my newest drum style reel has something like this, and so I figured I'd take that idea and integrate it into this. It's really nice, especially if you're using this as a backup. You can have your arrow with your line all set up and ready to go on your on your reel. And so if you need it as a backup, you can just pull it out, put it on, and you're ready to go. So there it is. Let's get started. To get started, you're going to need to get some things. First, you're going to need a cap. This is a 4-inch cap, and this is going to become the main body of our reel. So I've got a link in the description showing you, all the specifications on this. This is made for drainage applications, so low pressure applications. It's nice, it's lightweight, and it's easily shaped with heat. And that's what we're looking for. You're going to need this. This is a clean out cover. This is a 5-inch cover, so you can see it. It's a little bit bigger than this, and it makes the perfect backing. It already has the proper sized hole, all centered and ready to go, so that's really nice. And then you're going to need a bolt or a threaded rod. That's going to be, as you can see, this portion here. It's not only going to hold the reel together, and this is just held together with this, so if you ever needed to take this whole thing apart, undo the nuts, and it'll all come apart. So if you're going to be going to a hardware store, keep in mind that most of their bolts and their nuts in 5/16 are 20 teeth per inch. You want to find something that's 24 teeth per inch if you want it to fit in AMO standard bows. If you don't care if it fits or not, then just get whatever, because you'll make it fit. especially if you're doing something like the PVC Bowfishing adapter that I showed you guys how to make. You can easily use something, just a regular 20 teeth per inch bolt. You're going to need a bolt. This one's about 4.5 inches. Basically, it just needs to be as long as you need it to have good clearance. But, really it's up to whatever you can find. If you use a threaded rod, you have the option of shorting it and extending it using these forward nuts. So that's something to keep in mind. And other than that, all you're going to need is something to form the PVC cap once we've heated it up to give it that nice flared shape. So I'm going to be using this. This is basically a drainage cap. It's really nice because you basically need anything that's just a little bit smaller than the cap, but larger than the cap. As you can see, it sort of flares out like this. Most flower pots will also work really well. I think a 5-inch flower pot. And you just want to heat this up and shape it. So that's what we're going to do with this. The first thing I'm going to do is drill the hole, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so we're going to be drilling a 5/16 hole into the bottom of our cap. If you can see, it has a little number there. That number is dead center of this cap. And it's kind of hard to see, but there's also a little dimple there, so I don't need to mark anything. I just need to go ahead and drill right in the center there. So here we go. There we go. We're done. Now you want to take the knockout cover and you want to measure from the center, the edge of the center, 1 inch, and then centered around that you want to do 1 inch, so half an inch, half an inch. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then from here you want to measure 1 inch out and 1 inch out, and so you're basically making a 1 inch square here. You're also going to need to make a mark up here at the top. So these are over here, and then this is up at the top. This is right on the rim, as you can see. So I'm going to drill that first using a 1/4 inch drill bit. This is going to be where we are going to tie you're going to tie your fishing line onto here. So you just want to go ahead and drill that out. Alright, now that that's done, you want to drill these 2 holes, this one and this one, but you don't want to center on these marks. You want to drill so that the edge of your hole lines up to the outside. And I'll show you what I mean. So there you go. You can see that it lines up to the outside edge. Now this is going to become our clip. So what we're going to do now is we're going to need to join these together. I'm going to use my saw and I'm going to cut from here to here, from here to here. If you wanted to, you could heat this up a little bit and cut it with a pair of scissors or tin snips. Just cut from the outside. Or you could use a coping saw, a scroll saw. Just put the blade in first and then make your cuts. So I'm going to do that and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, now that we've got the holes drilled and we have this tab cut out, we're going to start heat shaping. Before we do that, I'm going to take a file and just round off the outside edge of this cap. As you can see, it has a little bit of a lip to it. It's not a big deal, but I like that to be smooth. Just personal preference. Alright, now that that's nice and smooth, we're going to heat up the inside and the outside. Once it's soft enough, I'm going to take this on the bottom of this and just press it down. So, there we go. That's nice and hot. Just take it on this, press it down, make sure you've got it nice and even, that it's got the same amount of flare on all sides. Just press in and just hold it until it cools. So, alright, there it is. You can see it has that nice flared shape to it now. One of the nice things is that it's actually caused it to have this sort of concavity, which will help the string stay in the middle. So that comes from pushing down and kind of pressing in, because the pipe kind of collapses a little bit, or the cap. This is really thin, easy to work plastic. Now we're going to be shaping the bottom of the cap and pressing it in so that this is also concave. That way it will fit against this snug and there won't be any gap that the string could hang up on. So that's really simple. You just heat this bottom, a little on the inside, a little on the outside, then we're going to press it in with the bottom of that pot. So here we go. Now you can see it's really soft. So I'm just going to take this, center it, and push with sort of a rocking motion. You don't have to push too hard. And just kind of press the inside a little bit. You don't want it to go too far in, but this is also going to help really allow us to tighten this down and hold securely. So here it is. You can see all the shaping we've done so far. It's nice and dished out here. It's got this nice flared shape here. You just want to let this cool, and once it's cooled, we'll work on shaping this clip. Right, here it is, all finished up. Now what we're going to do is heat this up and form it to make our clip. So first thing we need to do is heat up right where the cuts end. You can see the cuts end down there. We're going to heat that area and press this in so that it comes up. So here we go. There it is. So now that we've got this to go up, and it doesn't take long for it to cool off, what I like to do is just take my file and sort of round off these edges, round off these corners. Alright, there it is. So now I've got a fiberglass rod. You could use a dowel for this. You're going to heat this up and then actually pull this over and create a little tab. So one thing to keep in mind is that this is going to get very hot. You'll probably want to wear gloves for this. So here we go. Take your arrow and just kind of form this over This will go pretty quick. Make sure it's nice and straight. Kind of push down on the center here because you do want some tension. And once it's cool, so there's our clip. So there's our built-in arrow quiver. And now all the hard stuff is over. You want to take the body of the reel and take this. You want to take your nut, or not your nut, your bolt. Drop it through the top here. Bring it down through. You want to take one of these nuts. Thread it on the bolt. And then just tighten it. I would go and actually tighten it with a wrench. So when I'm done with this, I'll really tighten it up. But for right now, that's all it needs to be. And then you just go ahead and put this about halfway down. So once you've screwed this into your bow, you're going to bring this down as a jam nut to hold this in place. But here's the reel almost finished. So now I'm just going to basically cut a couple of slots for the string retainer. I'll go ahead and do that and I'll show you what that looks like. I just took my saw and I cut a couple of slits. I kind of lined it up to the quiver here, or the arrow holder, but you could really put it anywhere you want. You could have it multiple places. This is just where we're going to, you can put your line so that it doesn't just fall off. Now once you've cut it with the saw, you're going to want to take a piece of sandpaper and widen it a little bit, but you're mainly rounding off these corners. Alright, now that that's smoothed out, your reel is finished. Here it is. Alright, I've gone ahead and tightened this up. You can see it's nice and tight. It's not moving around. So here's our finished reel. All you got to do is put your line and your arrow on it. So I've got my line, and I'm using, I believe it's 100-pound test line for this. So you take it. I just like to do a little loop in this hole here. Bring it back around, and I'm basically tying a timber hitch. This is what I usually tie, but you can use whatever knot you're most comfortable with. Alright, so now you just wrap the line, and you can see how it kind of likes to fall into the center section here. So, bring that up. So we've got our line retainer. Whoops. There we go. Let's pull the line into that. Take your arrow. Oops. There we go. And snap it in. So now this reel is all ready to go. And just so you guys know, I use the AMS safety slides on my fishing arrows. If I don't, I'll use a double line system so that I'm always shooting with the line tied to the front of the arrow, and then it slides onto the back. But this is what I've come to use. It's reliable, pretty inexpensive. So once you've got that, take your bow. You just want to screw it in. Bring that down, secure it, tighten it up, and there you go. Now your reel is set up and ready to go. So, there it is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.